Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be about the 3 moves you can make today to set yourself up for financial success in the future. As we all know, 2020 has been one crazy year. We got hit by a once-in-a-lifetime event here with the pandemic, and this has completely changed how we do business and how we conduct our lives as a whole. People lost their jobs, traveling is constricted, and everyone is working remotely now. In my opinion, we were already headed towards this direction, but the pandemic made it happen faster. This pandemic made a 5-year transition happen in just 5 months, and this is crazy. But regardless of all this uncertainty and craziness out there, one thing remains for sure. We need to keep looking onto the future, and not just any future, a future where we all achieve our financial successes and freedom. It doesn't matter how big or small your goals are. All that matters is the only way you're gonna get to your goals is by planning and executing. So let's jump right into it. Today we are gonna talk about the 3 steps to planning your investments today. Step 1 is knowing your current financial situation. This is the first and actually the most critical of all 3 steps. This is simply because of the principle that you'll never know where you're going to in life or how to get there unless you first know where you currently are. Think of this like booking a flight to California, and the airline tells you your flight is going to land in California at 6 p.m. but they don't tell you where you're going to take off from. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to say. You need to know certain things like how much debt you're in, how much income do you make, what is your savings rate versus what is your expense rate. In my opinion, debt is the most critical of this aspect when it comes to financial freedom, as it could significantly affect you from getting towards your financial goals. And not just any debts, consumer debts. This is the worst type of debt ever. Make sure you know what each of your debts are and prioritize taking care of those with higher interest rates first. For instance, say you had $10,000 in student loan at a 4% interest, $100,000 in mortgage loan at a 2% interest, and $10,000 in credit card loans at a 22% interest. At this point, my first advice to you is to first stop taking on new debt. Think of your debts as a hole in the ground which you're in, and the surface is your financial goals. The more debt you acquire, the deeper you keep digging the hole. And in life, if you ever find yourself in a hole, the first step is to stop digging. Once you stop taking on new debt, then based on your income and your savings rate, you need to prioritize paying off the credit card debt. This is because this is not only the highest interest rate of the debts you have, but it is also the smallest amount. Typically, you want to take care of the smallest amounts of debt first. This is because of a snowball effect. Once you're done with the smaller debts, it's easier to pay off the larger debts. A good rule of thumb I like to follow is to prioritize debts that are over 7 to 10% interest rate. This is because of the opportunity cost of investing in the stock market. We're going to talk more about this later on in this video. This brings me to the second step you need to make for financial success, which is setting a goal. Not having a goal is almost like getting into a taxi and telling the driver to take you anywhere or nowhere. You need to start any journey, including your financial journey, always having the end in mind. Or a better example of what not having a goal looks like. Say today I told you I was a better shooter than Stephen Curry.
Stop the cap.
2-time NBA MVP and 2-time champion. I said I was a better shooter than he is, but only if Steph Curry is always blindfolded every time he goes up to take a shot. I know what you think to yourself. That makes no sense. How can you expect a man to hit a target he can't see? Which is a good question, but it's a lot easier to hit a target you can't see than it is to hit a target you don't have.
You smart. You very smart. You a genius.
This would be a situation where I said the basketball hoop has to be taken away every time Steph Curry goes for a shot. He will never make a shot if there's no hoop to aim for. The thing you need to know about goals is that goals need to be as clearly defined as possible. A principle I like to use is called the SMART principle, which is just an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, say you decided you wanted to buy a house. Here will be a good way to go around setting your goals. First, specific. You said you wanted to buy a house. That is a specific goal. Next, measurable. You have to tell yourself, hey, I want to buy a house of around $150,000 and I want to put it 20% or 10% down, whatever you can go with. That is measurable. Next, achievable. You can look at what your household makes in a year. Say they make $60,000 a year. A $150,000 house is not too far out your budget, so it's definitely doable. Next, relevant. You need to make sure this house is going to be relevant. Do you want to buy this house as an asset or a liability? Do you plan on living it, or do you plan to maybe rent a room out so you could pay for the rest of the house? And time bound. You need to set a time where you want to get this house. Do you want to buy it a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, just based on your income and your savings, what you can work with? Keep in mind that goals without a due date is just dreaming, and it's going to leave you disappointed in the end. It's almost like your teacher or your professor giving you your homework and telling you, hey, do this, but there's no due date. You're probably not going to do it.
No, you're right.
third and final step is to pick an asset class. You need to decide what kind of investor you want to be. Do you want to be a real estate investor, or do you want to be a stock market investor? Keep in mind that these are not the only two asset classes out there. There are a lot more classes such as bonds. You could invest in derivatives like options, commodities, or futures. It's okay if you're a little confused on what asset class to invest in. There's a whole bunch of options out there and it could be confusing a little bit, especially for beginners, but it's important to get started. If you get started, you are going to figure out what you like based off your personality, based off your risk tolerance, and based off other metrics. You are going to figure out what you like and what you do want to invest, but you would never figure it out if you don't get started. For instance, I'm currently invested in both stocks and real estate, but I currently prefer stocks. This is because I don't have enough real estate to where I could hire property managers to take care of my property and still be profitable. So I'm having to do the job of being a property manager. Stocks, on the other hand, are more passive to me as of right now. All I have to do is buy it, sit on it, and wait till it grows and collect my dividends. Although real estate does bring me more cash flow, please visit my video in stocks versus real estate, link in description below. It's going to give you a detailed example or to help you guys make your choices easier if you're going to be a real estate investor or a stock market investor. But like I was saying, although real estate brings in more cash flow to me, stocks are more passive. This is why I currently prefer that. Keep in mind that you can be an expert at anything, but you can never be an expert at everything. This is why it's important to focus your attention on one. And then as you start to learn more and get better at the investing world in general, then you can diversify across different asset classes like most investors do. That's it for the video, guys. Please share with me what your thoughts are, comments, whatever you guys are thinking as far as investing. Do you prefer real estate investing? Do you prefer stock market investing? What are your views on investing in general? What steps are you making to get closer to your financial goals? At what age do you want to retire? There's a whole bunch of questions about investing you could answer, but please go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe if you made it this far. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.